Trigger warning, in this video I'll be discussing grooming, sexual assault, rape, and violence. So if any of these topics are triggering to you, please click off this video and take care of yourselves.
I really don't want to hear any kind of crap about what does race have to do with it. Race has everything to do with it. Who does the internet make famous? Historically speaking, time and time again, white men have always been in power. They've had the most power in this world. And what do they do with this power? They start coercing people, manipulating people, taking advantage of people. And the victims of these men have always been women and children. And it's happening on YouTube. We're seeing it happen over and over again. Presidents, religious leaders, principals, directors, CEOs. This happens time and time again. So this is definitely an issue of race, at least in North America. These men have always had privilege, but now with that privilege comes power. And with this power, they're using it to take advantage of people, and it's frustrating. This is an issue of race. It's always been an issue of race, and until we come up with a solution, it will continue being an issue of race. But anyways, let's start with James Charles. So, I believe it was a few years ago, 14-year-old boy, TikTok famous. I think he had 200,000 followers. He came out and said that James Charles was DMing him and sending him inappropriate messages. And then he was bullied off the internet. I think still to this day, he is no longer on TikTok, which is fantastic. Not only has his income been stunted, but he experienced a tremendous amount of trauma, and he was blamed for it and bullied for it off the internet. And I believe he was 14 or 15 years old. That's a child who had to experience that at the hands of adults. It's disgusting, it's heartbreaking, and I'm just... But recently, a 16-year-old boy came out on TikTok and said and showed sufficient amount of proof that A, his age is all over the internet. He was indeed 16. And B, James Charles was sending him inappropriate messages, asking for nudes, and sending him nudes. Fun. James immediately released this notes app apology thingy where he said he was like, I'm not gonna blame the victim. And then he proceeded to blame the victim. He said that these boys lied to him, told him that they were 18, which I don't believe is true. Even if it was true, I'll get to it. He then confirmed that he did indeed talk to these boys, or at least that specific teenage boys. So he's an admitted criminal. He admitted to sending nudes and asking for nudes from minors, which is a criminal offense. So why the law is not getting involved, I'll never know. One thing that I don't understand, we make jokes all the time about James Charles and all of these men that I'm going to talk about. We make jokes all the time that they have child fans. We always say, like, oh, James is about to send his army of 12-year-olds to bully people off the internet. We know his fans are children, or at least majority of them. James knows that because he has the analytic. This person who's DMing me is a fan. And most of my fans are children, so perhaps this fan is a child. I don't understand how he wasn't able to do that, to figure that out and think, hey, maybe I shouldn't ask for nudes. Maybe I shouldn't send nudes. Maybe I shouldn't cross that line. I don't understand how he wasn't able to do that in his head. He claims to be this intelligent guy who's way mature for his age, yet he's doing stupid crap like this? Are you serious, James? And that is why I can't believe that he wasn't aware of what he was doing. These boys were the ones who were manipulating him, and he's just the victim. Because even if I need to calm down. Even if that was the case, and there was a fan in your DMs flirting with you, the farthest you should go, James, is saying thank you for the support. What I think you should do is not respond at all. But the farthest you should go is thank you for the support. And goodbye. End it there. But the fact that you continued and you kept pushing and asking for nudes and asking for inappropriate things, that makes you at fault. It doesn't matter if they lied about their age. You're still at fault here because you have the most power in this situation. You're the adult in this situation. So even if they did approach you in an inappropriate way, it's up to you to end it. And you didn't. And that is why you're not the victim. He then released a video on April 1st titled taking accountability or holding myself accountable or whatever crap, where he proceeded to not hold himself accountable and play the victim once again. He started the video with the absolute worst trigger warning I've ever seen in my entire life. That was not a trigger warning. Saying, hey, this video might be triggering is not a trigger warning. Things that trigger me may not trigger someone else, so you have to be specific. But anyways, he insinuated that he has proof that these boys did indeed lie to him, or he has sufficient proof that would disprove these boys, which is not accountability. How is that accountability? Isn't accountability taking responsibility for your actions? Is that not what it is, right? Acknowledging that you were in the wrong in the situation and apologizing for it. My nose is itchy. By saying that, but insinuating that you have proof to disprove these boys is not accountability, is victim blaming. James. And then he did something that a lot of people do and they don't realize that they're doing this. He took accountability by saying that everyone else is the problem and he's the fool for trusting them. So he's not taking responsibility for making a mistake. He's taking responsibility for trusting these people, which then led him to make these mistakes. So once again, that's not accountability, that's victim blaming. We should have at least a basic understanding of what accountability is, and you don't seem to understand that. All you did in that video was play the victim. You are the fool, not because you DM'd fans, not because you DM'd minors asking for nudes and sending them nudes. You were in the wrong for trusting these people when they lied to you. Do you see how that's not accountability? You just took victim blaming and you repackaged it, and you're also deflecting all responsibilities off of you, the adult, and onto the minor. Let's talk about his apology. He said something along the lines of, I'm sorry if I made you uncomfortable. I'm sorry if I hurt you. Let's say I broke my friend Jessica's nose. Hi Jessica, I would never break your nose. Never, at least not on purpose. But let's say I did break your nose. Imagine you're in the hospital, you have an ice pack, your nose is all gross and puffy and bloody, and I come up to you and I say, I'm sorry if I broke your nose. It's not a situation of if. I did break your nose, and I should apologize for what I did. Correct? That's how that works. James saying, I'm sorry if I've made you uncomfortable when addressing the victims. You did make them uncomfortable. They are children who loved you and looked up to you, and you just traumatized them. So you should, it's not a matter of if you did something, you did do it, and you should apologize for it. I can't believe I have to explain this. And then he said something that went viral on the internet. He basically excused his behavior by saying that he was desperate for a boyfriend. Let me tell you something, James. We're all desperate for something. Money, love, success. We're all desperate for something. People I know to this day who are still desperate for a boyfriend. You know the difference between them and you? They don't go to a middle school looking for a boyfriend. Go on a dating app. Ask around. Ask someone to hook you up with someone your age. Don't go to your fans, your TikTok, your Snapchat looking for a boyfriend. Being desperate is not an excuse for what you did. I personally think you have a problem. The reason, at least the biggest reason I think older men like to date younger boys or girls is because of a power play. They want to have power and control over these children, and that's why they tend to date younger. And I think that's the problem that James had. Allegedly. I don't want to get sued, but we're all desperate for something, but we don't all have to stoop that low. Something as low as traumatizing children just for a boyfriend. That's all I'm saying. He does seem to somewhat understand what power imbalance is and how he used his power against his fans. I just hope he knows that he did weaponize his power instead of it being vice versa. Because I think he was insinuating that those boys manipulated him and lied to him when it's the opposite. Again, and I've mentioned this before and I'll mention it again, it doesn't matter if they slid in your DMs and flirted with you and started the interaction. It doesn't matter. It's up to you, the adult, and the person in power in that situation to put a stop to it. But that's not what you did. You weaponized your power and you manipulated these boys. So the solution here is not to IG your fans or to IG anyone who slides in your DMs. The solution here is to stop all inappropriate contact with your fans. Hello? And like, you can reply to DMs in a friendly way. If someone's like, hey, I'm a big fan, I love you, you can respond with thank you for all the love and support. Make sure to check out my new video or whatever. You can reply to comments and tweets, but you have to keep it appropriate. You can't ask them for nudes. You can't date these people. You can't do that. You're crossing the line here. The solution here is YouTube has to take action. We, the people, have to take action and ensuring that this man gets demonetized and suffers the consequences of his actions. The people that are suffering right now are the victims. They're being bullied off the internet, and there's so many victims. Since that video, many have come forward, and James continued to not take accountability and blame these boys. He just recently released this like notes app apology thingy on Twitter, announcing that he cut all, I guess that Morphe won't be selling his stuff anymore or something like that, which is a good thing. Took you long enough, Morphe. You're really holding on to that check. You really did not want to lose that James Charles money. You really tried really hard to hold on to it, Morphe. Finally bit you in the ass. And then he proceeded to blame the victims. Once again, saying these boys lied to me and they're continuing to lie, which 2 people have been proven to lie, which if you're lying about this situation, please don't. Your actions are giving these people, his stands, a reason to think that all other victims are lying, which is not true. So please don't lie about this situation. I know a lot of kids might be doing this for clout right now. This is not the time to get clout. This is the time to do everything that you can to ensure that these victims get some sort of justice. I want this man off the internet. I want him deplatformed. I know YouTube just temporarily demonetized him. He should no longer be on this app. You need to suffer the consequences of your actions. And when you're an admitted criminal putting kids in danger, you need to be off this app. It doesn't matter how great you are. It doesn't matter how talented you are. It doesn't matter if you're working on yourself to better yourself. You should be doing that for you, not for a check. Get off this app. I'm moving on from this situation. Next up, Jake Paul. A girl by the name of Justine Paradise released a video on YouTube talking about how Jake Paul SA'd her. I don't know why you can't say these specific words on YouTube. I'm not sure if I can or can't. I'm very new to YouTube. She described in detail what happened to her, and I'm not going to go into it today. But basically, to give you the gist of what happened, she was hanging out with him in the Team 10 house. They made her sign an NDA, which is why it took her so long to come out with this and talk about it. They went up to his room. They were making out, and he wanted more, and she put a stop to it. She said, no, I don't want to have sex with you. And then he said something along the lines of, then what's the point? And proceeded to SA her orally. Since then, there have been many people who have been attempting to hold Jake Paul accountable, and then there are rape apologists who are saying stupid crap like you cannot be SA'd in the mouth without actually wanting it. It is horrifying to me how many people don't understand consent and what consent is and what it should look like. Grown-ass men who have children don't understand it. And I think the main reason why so many of these men are so quick to not believe Justine is because I believe they have skeletons in the closet. They might have done stuff like this. Now that people are coming out saying, hey, this is assault, this is rape, they're scared all of a sudden. And they just want to go quickly say, no, it's not. No, it's not. Because if it's in the mouth, then you wanted it. Which is the dumbest thing I've ever heard. Let me explain something to you. For many, many, many years, we've been told that consent is an assumed yes until someone says no, right? So if you're on a date with someone, I guess you can assume that you can do whatever you want with that person until they say no. If that's what you believe consent is, then in that case, Justine was still indeed SA'd because she did say no. She told Jake Paul she did not want to do anything. She tried to put a stop to it, but he forced her into it anyways, which is, by definition, rape. Is it not? However, what consent actually is and what it should be is that it's an assumed no until someone says yes. Just because you're on a date with someone, it doesn't mean that you can do anything to that person, correct? Let's say you walk into someone's house and they have a really nice TV. You can't just grab that TV and walk out. That's theft, correct? And by your definition of it's an assumed yes until it's a no, that makes it theft. But if you ask them permission, if you say, hey, can I have that TV? And that person says, sure, take it, I don't want it, then that's no problem. You're just that person is either gifting you the TV or you're borrowing it. There's no problem there. Consent is an assumed no until you get a yes. It should always be like that. And that is how you should understand what consent is. So it's not a matter of if it happened orally, then she wanted it. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. That doesn't make any kind of logical sense. She very clearly stated, no, I don't want this, and yet she was forced into it anyways, which is awful and disgusting. And this poor girl is currently being bullied off the internet. She's been harassed. People are saying stuff to her like, if I've ever seen you in person, I'm going to beat you up. They're sending her death threats. She's the victim in this situation. She was assaulted. She's already experienced a tremendous amount of trauma, and now she's being bullied for experiencing this trauma. And this is why this is some of the most infuriating things to happen on the internet. Seeing how these girls, how these victims, these boys and girls are being harassed for being victims is, it's very difficult to watch. Very difficult to watch. And it's happened time and time and time again. Because men and boys and even some girls don't understand what consent actually is and how it works. And it's sad and it's disheartening. I just want to say I believe Justine. I believe every single victim in this situation. The victim will always have more to lose, and that's why I'm always inclined to believe the victim. So I believe her, and I will send support to her. She is very brave for doing what she did. She did it so that more girls in the future who are either planning on going out with Jake Paul or are currently seeing him could know what he's capable of, and also maybe it'll help more girls come forward with their stories. So thank you, Justine, and I hope you find some support.
I saw that this disturbing old man was saying something along the lines of, why don't you just move your head? Why can't you just close your mouth? Why can't you fight him off? First of all, Jake Paul is a gigantic dude, and she can't just fight him off. Secondly, a lot of times when you resist, it leads to more violence, and it's just a survival tactic. So, sir, please shut your mouth and keep out of women's business. Thank you.
David Dobrik is the last person I want to talk about today. He is a terrible boss. The absolute worst. So, Hannah was a girl who recently came out. She did an insider article where she described what happened to her. So, to give you, I guess, a gist of the story. Dirty Dom, this disgusting freak of a man, wanted to have a threesome or a foursome, something like that. And I guess these girls just wanted to hang out with this was 2018. You remember how big these YouTubers were in 2019. And these girls who are under the drinking age, so they're not underage, but they are under the age of 21. They just wanted to hang out with a few YouTubers, and they claimed that Jeff and some other guy, I don't know, I've never seen the Vlog Squad, I don't know who any of them are, but Jeff and some other guy bought them alcohol, and they were illegally drinking. Buying alcohol for minors is illegal, need I remind you. They were illegally drinking, and then this poor girl got blackout drunk, and then she was raped by Dirty Dom. About a year later, she texted, she texted David Dobrik and told him about what happened to her, and he immediately took down the video, which means he knew about the situation. For a whole year, he knew about the situation. He knew what happened to Hannah, and he still kept in contact with Dirty Dom. Fantastic. And now she came out with an article, an insider article, talking about her story, which I will link down below. I will link everything that I mentioned here down below, including James's awful video. I'll link it all down below. David Dobrik didn't give a damn. He didn't give a damn. He posted an apology video to his smallest channel. I didn't even see the video because he wanted to hide the entire situation. It wasn't up until he started losing sponsorships and he started losing money, and this situation was taking a hit on his money, that he decided to take it seriously and released the video where he was crying, where he was getting all emotional and talking about how he needs a PR team. Dirty Dom, who's a disgusting freak of a man, if he doesn't get punished on this earth, I hope he burns in hell, in the fury pits of hell for all eternity. That is all I can do, is pray that he burns in hell. That is all I can do, honestly. He's back on TikTok making fun of the entire situation, which is great. Fantastic. It really shows that he feels remorse for his actions when he gets on that app and starts making fun of a girl who was deeply traumatized by his actions. That's really, really fun. And TikTok's not doing anything about it, because why would they? Why would they care about women and children? Why would they? David is an absolute terrible boss. People are not understanding why David and the other Vlog Squad members are taking the heat for this situation when Dirty Dom is indeed the rapist. But he's taking the heat for this situation because he let it happen. It happened under his supervision. The Vlog Squad is kind of like his company. He is the boss of these people. Is he not? And because of the situation that he puts them in, this was allowed to happen. Everyone depends on David for income, so they're willing to do absolutely anything, dance around him like a bunch of little monkeys for him. There was another situation that happened with an ex-Vlog Squad member. I believe he was a Vlog Squad member by the name of Seth. He was also sexually assaulted, SA'd, whatever the term is. I'm done sugarcoating things. By the disgusting old man, Jason. So basically, he was told that he was going to be making out with Corinna, which that is what he consented to. He consented to making out with Corinna, but he ended up making out with Jason, which he did not consent to. It is very much indeed sexual assault. There was a whole podcast out there where they describe the entire situation, and they indeed, David Dobrik and Jason both admitted to doing this. So it's not like Seth is lying. And they also admitted to doing it because of a racial issue. Seth is from Compton, and over there homosexuality is not very much accepted at all. And they knew that by doing this, it would embarrass him to his friend, and it would make things difficult for him, which is disgusting. What kind of prank is that? What kind of prank is that? Not only are you sexually assaulting this guy, but you're doing it in a way that would, like, prolong embarrassment, right? It's disgusting. Like, I don't understand these boys. David Dobrik thinks he's funny with his frat boy comedy style, but it's not. You're harassing these people. Your so-called friends depend on you for income, or they're willing to do anything, including dangerous things, including things that could kill them, just for a 4-minute and 20-second video. I don't understand. Speaking of injuries, Jeff with Tech. First of all, I want to say Jeff was one of the boys who was accused of buying alcohol that night that Hannah was raped. So, I believe what Hannah says. Again, I will always be inclined to believe the victim. Just because this happened to Jeff, one, I will not forget his involvement with that whole situation. And two, I will not forgive him for what he did. He was still there that night. He was accused of doing something horrible that led to the rape of this poor girl. And for that reason, I will not forgive or forget Jeff's involvement in this whole thing. However, what happened to Jeff, I wouldn't wish on my worst enemy. I would absolutely never wish this on anyone ever. David, the idiot, was being reckless, and he rented this excavator. I can't say that word, so I'm just going to say tractor. He rented this tractor, and he asked these people, right, people who were willing to kiss his ass for $1, to get on this, to just do some crazy reckless shit, and it ended up injuring Jeff really, really, really badly. He has a whole documentary about this. I'll just link it down below because I don't want to go into detail because I'm getting tired of this whole thing. Jeff could have died. For a 4-minute and 20-second video, Jeff almost died. Now he has permanent injuries to his head and to his eye because David was too reckless to think, hey, maybe operating this tractor with no license, no experience, is probably not a great idea. There was one part in Jeff's documentary where he mentioned that David didn't want this to happen. He didn't ask for it. He didn't ask for his friend to be injured in this way. I find that hard to believe considering he had no license to operate this tractor. He had no experience. He had no idea how it worked. He was operating it with one hand and holding the camera in the other. How could he not expect that something bad might happen? He's a freaking idiot. Just an idiot. I'm not saying he did it on purpose, because I do believe it was an accident. But I find it hard to believe that he couldn't think of ways this could go wrong. The solution here is not to get an HR team. The solution here is to stop this stupid and reckless behavior. Stop putting your friends, your colleagues, innocent people in danger just for a video that aren't even funny. These videos aren't even funny. They're funny to a 12-year-old boy, to a prepubescent boy, but not to the rest of us who are mature adults. The solution, once again, is not to get a PR team or an HR team. You should get a PR team, dude. The way you handle the situation was trash. That's not the solution here. The solution is to stop this kind of behavior and to ensure that Dirty Dom goes to prison. If you truly believe these girls and you care about them, I know Dirty Dom is your friend, but just because someone's your friend doesn't mean you can't hold them accountable. You need to ensure that justice is served for this girl. So if the solution here is to ensure that Dirty Dom is punished for his actions and to stop this reckless and stupid behavior. And once again, YouTube, you need to get involved. Deplatform Jake Paul after all that he's done. Now this is coming out. Why are we not doing something about it? It's not just about temporarily demonetizing someone. Deplatform them. Get rid of their page, their channel. Get rid of it. Especially these specific men, James Charles, Jake Paul, and David Dobrik, because their audience is impressionable children. Children who will do anything because they look up to these boys. They'll believe anything. This is not a good audience, a good targeted audience for these boys. They are a danger to these children and they need to be deplatformed. They need to be off this page. They need to be off this app. Do you understand me? You cannot continue giving these men power and privilege because they'll just use it to do more bad things. If they don't suffer the consequences of their actions now, they will never learn. So YouTube, you have to get involved. We have to do our best to not consume content that comes from any of these people, to completely shut them up. By giving these people a platform, we're giving them the opportunity to continue to do bad things. So we have to cut these people off. We have to stop watching whatever they're doing. We can't continue supporting them. That is the best way to stop this from happening again. Protect children. I was one of those children who grew up on YouTube. YouTube came out when I was 5 years old. I was directly funding and putting money in Shane Dawson's pockets by watching him, not fully realizing what he was doing and why it was wrong. And that's the same thing that's happening with these boys, with Jake Paul, James Charles, and David Dobrik. If these children are bringing you money, YouTube, these children continue to watch content on this app, which keeps this app running. So you need to do what's best for your audience to try to protect them. So get these people off this platform. Deplatform them. I can't say this enough. I know the world doesn't care about women and children. The law certainly doesn't, but you can start by caring. Yeah, that's it. I'm I'm done talking about this topic because I'm angry and I have a headache, so I'm just gonna say goodbye here, and next video will be a lot more lighthearted. I'll probably be a lot happier and less thirsty in that video, so whatever, bye.